friends, far and wide, we are live. How's it going, y'all? Eric, your humble malt muser, here beaming the signal from my home base of Chicago, Illinois, USA. What is good, folks? Been a while since I have got a chance to do another live, so excited to hang out. Got a little warm-up dram going right now. I got two whiskeys that we're going to check out. One's going to be the Laphroaig Elements L1.0. And then the other one is a Signatory single cask 31-year-old Laphroaig. So that should be pretty fun. Tater Dom is in the house. Cheers to you. How's it going? Greg. Hey, Eric. There's a VPub at the same time, but as I don't see often, I gave you priority. Well, thank you, sir. I did not realize there was a VPub. Oh, Aquavits. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm sure he's always got some good stuff going on. I actually haven't seen his stuff in quite a while, but always a good time. Good to see you, Greg. And Demon Hunter. So we got Paris in the house. Now we got Canada. Long time no see, indeed. Hope you're driving safe, my friend. How are things up in the Alberta, I believe? You're right outside Calgary, if I'm not mistaken. Maryland is here. Mike B. Hope is all as well. Working here, only able to monitor the background. Cheers. Hey, man, good to see you, Mike. Hope things are good down in Maryland. I'm sure it's getting warmer. Summertime's right around the corner. Another Canadian friend. What's up, Peter White? How's it going, Mr. White? What's good in Ontario? Good to see you, sir. All right. Well, we got 7 folks in, which is very cool, man. Good to see everybody. I'll keep an eye and say hi to folks as anybody else comes in. But as I mentioned, we got 2 whiskeys. So we're going to dive right in. I've been warming up with a little bit of a Highland Park 12, one of my favorite kind of just everyday drams. I have an older bottle of it. I couldn't tell you when this came out exactly, but it's not that old. Probably just before they changed their branding. I love this stuff. It's still relatively reasonably priced around here, which is great considering it seems like everything else is getting a lot more expensive. Paris, my man Greg is doing a double live. That's awesome. Too funny. Okay, well, Top D's in the house. But man, cracking a little Springer Local 13. Oh man, that's a serious dram. Is that like their latest release? I haven't had. I don't think I've had one. The last one I had was the 10. I think maybe it was 2 or 3 years ago. That's the newest one, man. You are a lucky man. He's got some the same bottle too. Oh, cool. Great. All right, well, let's dive right in. So we do have 2 Laphroaigs, as I said. Debating which one of these to do first. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to start out by pouring the 31, and then we'll get into the elements, and then we'll come back to it because I want to give this a little time to sit in the glass. We'll get a nice dram of this in there. We'll talk about that one later. But why not start things off with a bang? So this came out, I think, either early this year or late last year, and it looks like it's part of a new series from Laphroaig. If you've not seen this before, it's called Elements. This is the first release of it, and the tail of the tape on this one. Actually, let's get this in the glass. Pretty big packaging. Let's see here. What does it have to say? Oh, interesting. They're putting their Friends of Laphroaig codes on the back now. I didn't know that. Nice pop. Ooh. Okay. So what's the deal with these elements? Why should we even care? What are they doing different with it? So the story with this one is, and it looks like we're going to need to refer to the box for it. It's the first series pushing the boundaries of mashing and fermentation. So what they do is they use an 8.5 and an 11-ton mash tun in an odd to old and new style. So they're basically combining some of the cloudier wort with some of the more semi-cloudy wort. It says it is non-chill filtered, which is great. The ABV on this is 58.6. It does not appear that there is an age statement. So we're basically looking at kind of a slightly modified cask strength with no age statement. All right. So that's it. That's the story. The price on these is pretty crazy. We got some other folks hopping in. Let me say hi. What's up, Ethan? How you doing? Cheers. Oh, he's doing the Springbank. Right on. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. The price on this is pretty steep. I mean, I think the going price around here is like $160 for these. So this is pretty high priced for a, NAS cask strength Laphroaig, especially when you can get the Laphroaig 10 cask strength at, still like under 100. But they are doing something a little different. As I said, they're kind of taking wort in different size tons, kind of mashing it together, putting it together, and that is how we got Elements 1.0. Here is what it looks like in the glass. Do I have something I can actually show you what this looks like? Sure. How about my registration? There you go. Ethan is in Philly, my old stomping grounds. Cheers. Where are you in Philly? Just out of curiosity. Wow. So I can tell you right away, the nose on this is pretty, it's different. It's definitely different. It's not as like sooty and medicinal as I would say most of the Laphroaigs are that you get. It's there, but it's not that heavy. A lot of peat, sweet, like tropical fruit. South Philly. Nice. I lived in University City on the west side when I was over there. Again, here's one more look at the bottle if you didn't see. Point Breeze. Okay. Right on. Cheers, man. I used to hang out over there. There's if I could remember the name of that bar I used to go to over there. Oh, it'll come to me. It smells rich. It's definitely different though. It's maltier. It's more tropical fruit, which is kind of interesting, especially considering there's no age statement on this. That doesn't necessarily mean it's young, but it probably is. Would you say the Ardbeg Spectacular is worth grabbing? Is that the new? I saw the 46% release of that. I don't know. That's the port one. Boy, I really like the nose on this. It's almost got kind of a again, malty, bready quality to it. Really sweet with the tropical fruit, much more tropical fruit, not sherry, like your kind of dark red fruit notes. It's got some of that medicinal punch, but it's definitely got more smoke coming in the background on it. All right, let's give it a taste. This is the quite pricey Laphroaig Elements 1.0 uncorked. First taste. Let's go. Oh, man. Whoa. This tastes different for sure. Obviously really heavy peat, smoke, classic Laphroaig stuff. Wow. Let me try another taste of this really quick. This is really different. If I was going to compare this to something, this has more of a Port Charlotte profile. It's got a little bit of that kind of farmhouse, kind of malt, almost like hay type thing going on in it. So you're getting the sweet. It's got honey. The tropical fruit is definitely there. Sooty, ash. Peat element. little bit of dark chocolate, long finish. You know, this isn't that bad. It's different. It just hits way different than a lot of the other. You know, most of the Laphroaigs you get, you really get overpowered with that kind of iodine, you know, medicinal kind of heavy punch of Laphroaig peat. This much different. This whiskey has that note of Laphroaig, that medicinal note. This is the most, I'd say, diminished of a Laphroaig at a young age that I've ever had to not pick up that note. In other words, I expected a lot more of it, but I don't. And it's got to probably be due to the fact that they're taking these different mashes and from different size tons, putting it together. Man, peach. Long finish. It's a really raw whiskey, and it doesn't necessarily taste young. It just doesn't have a lot of like cocoa, dark chocolate, coffee notes, any of that kind of popping up through the peat on the back. It is really just a punch at the end of kind of ash, oak, and smoke. I gotta do one more neat taste of this. Hey, what's up? This is, wow, 58.6. Really nice mouthfeel. Where's Winston? You know, he is around. He was just over here, but of course, the second I was going to go on camera, he ran off. It doesn't. I can definitely tell you this doesn't taste like any 10 cask strength I've had. It's a very different profile. You're definitely not getting, again, the heavy medicinal note. It's there, but it's much more in the background. And it doesn't really have any of those kind of characteristic, almost somewhat red fruit notes that you sometimes get on the 10 cask strings. This reminds me more of the profile of like a bourbon cask Octomore or like a Port Charlotte, you know, maybe like an indie bottle of a Port Charlotte, you know, 13 or a 10 or something. Just much more of that barley forward cask. The cask just seems less and less of an influence on this than I've had others. Look, in terms of kind of whatever they were going for in doing something new with this, I'd say that they succeeded. This is definitely, I'm going to put some water on it here in a second, but it's definitely a unique Laphroaig. This is not just like a remarketed NAS version of the 10 cask strength. It is not at all. In fact, I think I might have some of the 16 cask. Is this thing even open? No. I might have a cask strength that I could compare this to. You know what? If I was going to compare it to one, I think it would be this. I think if I was going to compare it to any Laphroaig that I've had, it would be this one, which is the 2017 Carchis cask strength quarter cask. In fact, I'll do a little side by side with this here, just for the heck of it. Let me clear this glass out. But if you pick this up thinking that you're going to get a 10 cask strength type style, it is definitely a bit different. So I think that they succeeded in that. We'll try again with a little bit of water. I'm going to put some of this quarter cask in the glass. This is probably one of my favorite from the Carchis line, if not maybe my favorite of them all. It's just really straight up raw, like 3-note pony, but it just kicks ass. Oaky, peaty, and citrus. But just as a point of comparison, see, yeah, the Carchis has more lemon lime. This one I don't get it as much, but anyways, I'm going to put just one more drop of water on this, and let's finish this out, and then we'll do the comparison. So here's with water. Man, wow. Again, tropical fruit. It's kind of like pineapple, which actually, to be honest, I think they mentioned something like that on here, don't they? They do. Tropical spice, tropical smoke. Well, they definitely hit that note on their flavor profile. Yeah. Wow. What the hell was that? This drinks well. Okay, so with water, I feel like it does bring out the smoke a bit more. This one is this is one of the smokier Laphroaigs that I've had. Huh. Okay. Look, it's nice. If you're a Laphroaig geek, you do well getting this. Again, the price is kind of absurd, but what prices aren't these days. This is like $160. I can say that it's not just a rebranded NAS cask strength of the 10. That is not what's going on here. This is a much different whiskey. And I think if you're a Laphroaig geek, you should probably get your hands on this, or at least make sure you try it. For anybody else, like just kind of who likes heavy peat and is exploring Laphroaig, I don't know how high this one needs to be on your list. Just because I think it is a bit pricey, and there are some other ones you should probably try first. I mean, you can get one of the most recent Carchus bottlings for like 110 maybe, which will give you something of a little bit more like a dynamic new what's the word I'm looking for? A Laphroaig that has a flavor profile that's different than like your bourbon cask or your quarter cask. So I don't know. I mean, this is kind of like probably like a 3.5, kind of like right there. I mean, above average for sure. The price is just a little bit rough. I don't regret it just because I am a bit of a Laphroaig geek, as you can tell. And if you are the same, I think you won't be disappointed in at least make sure you at least try this. And I don't think you'd be disappointed getting a bottle, even though it is a little bit expensive. But so that's kind of where I'm falling on this. Now, just to compare it to one of my favorites here is the quarter cask strength. Again, immediately the quarter cask strength is a lot more got more of the lemon lime, but oh, so good. This one has the kind of same experience with the way the oakiness hits, the way that the peat hits, the smoky factor of it. This one rolls out very similar to this Elements, but just has a different profile. But I think it's the closest comparison that I've ever had so far to this Elements. Yeah, here's that box again. They do give you a pretty huge packaging on it. Again, they give you a bunch of info in here. It sounds like, again, this is going to be a series, so I would expect more of these. You know, we don't know how old it is. So this is, you know, that part kind of sucks, but my assumption is that it's probably not. It says small batch. They've started using the old small batch labeling, which we all know small batch means pretty much nothing. It has no legal definition. You see this a lot of bourbon small batch. It can be anywhere from like 2 to like 200 casks or something. Like it has no actual meaning that you can rely on, other than that it's a little bit more limited than just like your standard, you know, Wild Turkey 101 blend. But I'm good with a 3.5 on this, man. Even with the price, I'd go higher if it wasn't so damn expensive. But I think, yeah, so that's kind of where I'm landing on it. I don't know. Has anybody else had this yet so far? I'd be curious what folks think. Yeah, I'm going to sit in that 3.5 range. It's pretty solid. Let me just catch up on the chat here. I love the, yeah. It's a really, really, really good one. Milky vanilla and coconut. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. I bought a bunch of these back in the day. Yeah. Who are frogmen, frogwomen, says Ben Demon Hunter. Computer management. Okay. I missed that. I think I'll stick to the 10 CS. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Maybe this one could arrive at your house in a sample. I know that I think I might owe you a few from the last time you sent me some. So Mike, maybe we'll figure out a way to do that. I saw a few people get one, but nobody's cracked one. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the 10 cast strength I still think is the best bang for your buck Laphroaig you can buy. If this was like Karch's priced, what is that? Why is this thing? Sorry, y'all. I don't know why this thing is sending me notifications. I got to turn this off. All right, whatever. All right, options, turn off sound. Okay. I dig it. I just wish it wasn't that expensive. This expensive. If this was like Karch's price, I think I could easily recommend. I would easily say buy this if you see it. But I think for now, if you can get to a bar that has a nice whiskey bar that has it, try it for sure. It is a different experience. And if you're a whiskey or Laphroaig nerd, go for it. All right, man. This bad boy, though, if you ever see any of these in the wild, definitely buy it. The 2017 Karch's cast strength quarter cask. Simply awesome. Still awesome. I've went through like 3 bottles of this. I think I have 2 or 3 more because I found them really cheap a few years ago for like $70 a pop, and I bought like 5 of them. But I'm nervous about them. Nervous about them going finishing them off because then I don't know what I'm going to do. All right. So, yeah, Elements. Pretty cool. Interested to see what they do next with this. Like I said, I mean, this is 1.0. So we should expect more. Okay. Let's move on to what will be the oldest Laphroaig that I've ever had the chance to taste. And it is so first of all, it's a Signatory vintage Isla with a parentheses LA next to it. I have on good authority that LA means it's Laphroaig, and I've seen a lot of other places call it Laphroaig, and so I'm very confident it is Laphroaig. This was bottled in 2024. The juice is from 1992. 247 bottles of this, 31 years old, 51.8% ABV. So an interesting question for you all as I get ready to talk more about this one. Why do some independent bottlers, notably, usually I see this with Signatory and there's a few others, do things like bottle things undisclosed Isla or unnamed Orkney or anything like that. I've never quite been able to figure this out. I assumed it was like a marketing thing or something, right? Like maybe they didn't have the rights from the distillery to do it, but you tend to see this with like a few distilleries, right? Laphroaig, not Kalila. What's the other one on Isla that you see this with sometimes? It's not coming to mind. But Highland Park, you see this with quite a bit. You'll see these like unnamed Orkney, undisclosed Orkney, when it's pretty obvious, either by looking at it or by the mash bill, that the juice is from those those distilleries. I mean, and it seems to only be a few of them. So I'm just curious if folks have a sense of why that is the case. Here's Top D. They have to pay extra money. Okay, that's kind of what I figured it was. Right. Okay, I figured it was like a naming rights thing, which I guess makes sense. I mean, if you're going to bottle something from Highland Park, why pay the extra money for it? Because it's like there's only 2 distilleries really up there, right? Yeah, Lagavulin was the other one. Yeah. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I figured it was that. Thanks for confirming that. So this is, yeah. So basically, this is one of an example of those. It is bourbon barrel. This is what it's looking like in the bottle. It is a 31-year-old. Now, this is, yeah, the oldest Laphroaig I've had. That's what it's looking like in the glass, for what it's worth. Teaspoon. No, we're going for a nice heroic drama. This one, why not? A Frog CS. There you go. Holy shit. Okay, so the nose on this. Oh, again, I should say the tail of the tape on this again. It is 51.8% ABV. It's a single cask. It I mean, I think these are all non-chill natural. That's usually just the status quo with these, although it doesn't say explicitly on here. 31 years old, 51.8. So I can tell you right now, the nose on this is absolutely killer. Damn. So keeping on with the tropical fruit trend, there's an absolute ton of this, but it's way stronger and more prominent on this 31. Again, I should have mentioned too, these are like, I think you can find these, there's 2 specific bottlings that have been floating around of late, and I think they're all like around, this is probably in that $500 range, which for a 31-year-old Laphroaig is pretty cheap considering that if you buy a bottling from them that's that old, it's like way over $1,000. Oh, I did. This was I poured this at the beginning of the show, so this has been sitting for about 20 minutes. So we're good. No worries, Greg. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Good shit. Yes, there are no promotion, so play the name or nickname secret of this. Yeah. Less and less Laffy's available. The name. Yeah, Macallan is another one, right? There's those Macallans. You see those quite a bit too. Okay. Yeah, so this sat for about 20 minutes, and I can tell you the nose on this is incredible. I have had a 25-year-old Laphroaig before, and I would say that like you do pick up quite a bit of the tropical fruit note. You get this a lot with bourbon cask whiskeys, I think, generally, as when they kind of get over that 18 or into the early 20, mid 20-year-old range, you tend to start noticing a lot more of the tropical fruit notes, and you're getting a ton of it here. So that's very expected. Again, no sherry in this. There's a nice vegetal note. It's a really calm whiskey. It's really, everything is balanced pretty wonderfully. Dram dude's in the house. What's up? How's it going, buddy? Indeed. How are you? I mean, it smells every bit as complex and as balanced and refined as you would want from a 37-year-old whiskey. That's for sure. If you guys are on Instas, do check out Dram Dude's page, by the way. Some of the best whiskey picture shots you'll see. He's got quite a collection and does really good work with that. Man, it's pretty wonderful. Here's Mike B. Yes, when the phenols break down over time, they must become more tropical. Yeah, you notice this. I mean, you pick it up a little bit in the Laphroaig 18, some of those kind of tropical fruit notes. You definitely pick it up in their 25, and I'm definitely getting it in this 31. And even though we don't have an age statement on, we were getting a bit of it in this Elements. This is really nice. Okay, I mean, on the nose again, you're looking. It's Laphroaig, but it's mellow. tropical fruit, tons of it, bright and fresh. Here we go. Yeah, this is good. Really, really nice, oily mouthfeel. Bit of the medicinal note, of course. It's almost like slightly mint. The finish just keeps rolling. Flavors just popping out of it. Sweet tropical fruits. There's even like almost like a slight bubblegum note or cotton candy. Light caramel, a little bit of brown sugar. Long finish. Drying, but not overly so. You know, a lot of Laphroaigs, obviously, because of the amount of peat. And, you know, you tend to get them to be really effervescent and drying as it goes into the finish. This one, it's a much subtler, gentler decline in the finish. Long finish. Here's like there right on the back end, some apple, some kind of cocoa notes, almost like a apple cider vinegar thing almost. Killer. At $500, that's a lot for a whiskey, obviously. But if you were ever going to reach for a really, really old Laphroaig, this might be the best one you can get for the price, because you're just not going to find a 30-some-year-old Laphroaig at a price like this, around $500, maybe even less. I mean, you might be able to get it for like $450. This is really, really good. Good to hear, buddy. Good to hear. I don't know how much difference it makes. I know that they still do their like floor malting thing over at Laphroaig, right? Obviously, that's not changed in any time, so that wouldn't really play a factor. But I do wonder if maybe they at sometimes have had to outsource that a bit for demand. I don't know. Hey, what's up, Daniel H., the man somewhere on the Louisiana-Texas borderlands. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Thanks for popping in. All right. We'll do another sip here, and then I'll put some water on this. Damn. Look, man. I think you can find this on Whiskey World. Whiskey World, I think, might have had it 1992 Signatory Laphroaig. I mean, there's some sites, Cask Cartel selling it for $1,500 because, of course, they are. But you might be able to snag a bottle of this at, let's see, La Massandou Whiskey in France has it for €525. I don't know if they ship. Obviously, don't pay that much at Cask Cartel because they're insane. They had it at Whiskey International, but it's sold out. Yeah, you could probably hunt around a little bit and find it. Hey, James Morgan, how's it going? What's happening, man? Coming up to us from across the pond. Really? The Carchus Triplewood. Wow. They still had those around, huh? That was, what year was that? Yep, exactly. There's like a couple of them. Wow, that's cool, man. Great to see you, James. I hope all's well with you. What's happening over in the UK? Oh, man, very first dram of Laphroaig at my birthday was the Carchus Triplewood, says Ben Demon Hunter. Yeah, 2021. That's right. That makes sense. I'm going to put a couple drops of water on this old froggy here. The old Glenmorangie pitcher, still alive, still doing well. Somehow I haven't broken this yet. All right, let's check it out. Damn. Wow. It actually dials back the intensity of the tropical notes on the nose from when it was neat, and is kind of bringing more of that earthy, almost slightly herbaceous, floral qualities of this Laphroaig. Shit. Well, again, nothing really different. It's just kind of brought a couple more things to the forefront, toned down the tropical fruit a little bit. A couple drops of water, always a good thing to add to whiskey. On an older whiskey like this, I mean, I only put like 2 drops on, even though it's 51.8. They tend to be more delicate, I guess. So you don't want to drown it. All right, here we go. Oh man. Yeah, this is great. This one is a real experience. If you've ever had like the Laphroaig 25 or even the Laphroaig 18, I mean, this is like the step up version of that. It really is. It's that same kind of profile. I know the 25 tends to change from year to year and its ABV and stuff like that, but generally speaking, it is following in that trajectory. I think the quality is definitely here, and with the price on this, I mean, this is like a 4.5 whiskey for me, 4.5 for me for sure. I mean, this is probably one of the better Laphroaigs I've ever had, if not the best Laphroaig I've had. The only thing I think, and it's even slight, is I just feel like I could use a little bit more smoke. But that also could be palate bias, just because I did just try the elements, so who knows. But I'm happy to say that this is definitely worth the money if you are in a position that you are looking to invest in a higher end Laphroaig, and you want to get one at a really good price. If you can find one of these still out in the wild, just so for folks to know, they're called Symington's Choice. That's like the range from the Signatory vintage on these. This is definitely worth it. Greg, Lama Sandu Whiskey does have this. Yeah, I was about to say they got one for €525. The cask on this one is 6776, 240 bottles or 247 bottles. I think there's 2 or 3 other ones out there. The ABV, Ben, it fluctuates a bit, but it tends to be in the mid 40s. I think the one that I have one up here that's shit. I don't know what the ABV is, but I think it's like 44.1 on that one up there. They tend to kind of fluctuate a bit. I don't think that you find many 25s that are over the 50 mark. I don't know if I've ever seen one that's over 50. Again, I've not had a lot of them, but from what I've seen, they tend to hover in that mid 40s range. And every year that they put them out, I mean, I would grab it. Yeah, 6776 is the one that I have here at 525. I'll be honest with you, €525. I mean, it's obviously a pricey investment, but for a 31-year-old Laphroaig, I mean, you're just not going to get a whiskey this old from Laphroaig at that price. I mean, a 31-year-old in there, what the Ian Hunter chapter range that they put out, it's like over $1,000. So, oh, James says they have an Elements 2 already. Really? Elements 2? I didn't even know that came out. I thought this first one just came out. This is the 6776 is the one that I have in my hand. Yeah. But yeah, this is killer. It's a killer whiskey. What can I say? Oh, Top Shelf Whiskey. If you guys haven't yet, go smash the sub button on their channel. That is Mike and Dustin's whiskey channel. They do good stuff. Check it out. So Dustin's here, so I'm assuming this is Mike. Mike, Mike and I did a Laphroaig kind of a little Laphroaig marathon show of sorts a few years back, and I definitely learned a lot about Laphroaig from him. He knows his Laphroaigs. And so, Mike, I would say this one's right up your alley for sure. If you can get your hands on one, right up your alley. Yeah, it's kind of right in that range. Again, it'll fluctuate. It's just not. I'm not sure which one you'll find, Ben. Given you know which bottle you're into, I think the ABV changes every year when they release them. I don't know the difference in casking. They might change the casking to sort of like you know, they might have more sherry in one than another. I don't know. Mike might know. If you want to comment on the 25 Laphroaigs, do they change the casking on those at all year to year? I know the ABVs change, but yeah, but 525 euros is a lot. But I think, yeah, if you were to spend 525 euros on a expensive Laphroaig, this would be the way to go. You're really getting an opportunity to drink an old whiskey for a price that that otherwise, if you bought from them, you'd be screwed. Casks do change. They said, okay, yeah, okay. I've only had one. I just don't quite know. The regular 25-year-old is both sherry and bourbon. ABV changes every year. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm confident. This is I almost wish I could afford to have bought more than one of these because this is really nice. This is just a really relaxed, complex Laphroaig. You're getting a lot out of this that you just simply won't ever find in a younger one. I think they nailed it. I mean, for a single cask, obviously, and the fact that they're not paying for the Laphroaig name on it. Damn. It's frustrating though that some cask samples I was lucky to try at the show in Paris were finally not bottled. Oh, at the whiskey show you were at. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's weird. All right. 2 Laphroaigs in the bag. Man. That's good. I think I'm going to pour another gem of this Elements and hang out a little bit longer because I'd love to get more into it. I'm really interested in this whiskey. As I said, if you just joined, we tried this one first. I popped the cork on it. Score-wise, I put it in the 3.5 out of 5 range. My overall feeling on this Elements is that if you're a Laphroaig head and you just love trying new and interesting Laphroaigs, this one's definitely one you're going to want, because this is not just a NAS rebottled version of the 10 cask strength, which is what I was actually a little afraid it was when I first heard about it. This is quite a unique dram. The price is kind of prohibitive in my opinion. They do. Elements 2, 115-hour fermentation. Okay, so they're going that route. So this Elements 1 is 2 different mash tuns. So basically taking the wort from different sizes and at different times. And so you're getting cloudier and a little bit semi-cloudy version is what they say on here. And they explicitly say non-chill filtered on it, which is always cool. 58.6. Yeah, the price on this at $160 is a bit excessive. I was hoping this would be more of a Carchus level pricing, but they're definitely trying to market this and pricing it as such as a premium product. And I would say if you're a Laphroaig, junkie, for lack of a better word, you'll want to grab this. If you're not, and you're just kind of getting into Laphroaig, I don't think you need to reach for this. To be honest, if you're going to reach for something, like, try and get your hands on the Laphroaig lore. I think in terms of like your journey into Laphroaig, lore would be something you'd want to have before this, because the lore just gives you a little bit of everything in terms of their different styles. It's an underrated whiskey, in my opinion. And I don't know. I've heard it might be on its way out, but I'm not sure. God. But again, my comparison with the Elements, I mean, this is like a Bruichladdich. Like this, the profile of this is much more in the Bruichladdich, Port Charlotte type range in terms of the the amount of this kind of maltiness, that sweet, what some people say is like barnyard quality hay barrel. Yeah, Laura's a really good one. You can get UK Laura prices. Yeah, it is. In the UK, there are some websites, folks, like Whiskey World, which is one that I definitely recommend people check out. It's called the Whiskey World. They are in the UK. Their shipping prices are pretty solid, and the lore there, they sell it for like £60. So that's like, depending on the exchange rate, like $78, $80, which is pretty damn cheap. You could walk into a corner liquor store here in the US and see them trying to sell you that for like $180. So, if you want to stock up on those. Which reminds me, I have an unopened Laphroaig since I got opening on. Good idea. Oh, the lore is always worth opening. It's a really damn good whiskey. And there's that ping again. I did not turn this off, even though I thought I did. I'll figure this out. But yeah, back to the elements. Laura 180 to 240 in Canada. Laura was a wildly underrated dram, but now the prices here local suck. Yeah, I agree. UK prices on the Laura. When Lucas got his Laura in 2020, it was 160, 170. Now it's 220 in Canada. I don't know what the conversion rate is for that to the US, but I'm assuming it's a bit more. I mean, I think the Laura was probably, the rumor is that the first batches of Laura that came out had some very old whiskey in it. Like in the 30-year-olds. I don't know how much. A tendency for companies, I guess, to do is that when they first release a whiskey like that, they'll put the best version of it forward first, and then maybe lower that quality a bit as it goes along. Not to say that Laura is bad now, because it's not. I think Laura's it is NAS, yeah, but you're getting 3 different, I think, caskings in that, and they work really well together. It's bottled at 48%. It definitely has some age to the juice. I think it's a really nice one, man. What did Ethan say? 99 in PA. That's not bad, man. I mean, that's kind of the price when it dropped almost 10 years ago now. I mean, you're getting the fine wine, good spirits prices. You're probably going to get it cheaper at the government store in Philly than you will if you go over to Jersey. I would bet you will. You're not going to find it much cheaper over at Benash or any of those spots in South Jersey. I think 99 is a pretty fair price. I mean, if you order it cheaper from the UK with shipping, you're going to end up paying that much anyway. So unless you're buying a bunch of stuff, the economies of scale won't work in your favor. Yeah, if you've never had it, $99, $100 for a bottle of Laura, I think it's worth it. I'd grab it. It's a good whiskey, man. It's a really good whiskey. Between that and their the 10 cask strength, which, while there have been a few, one of the last 3 batches, I think it was 15, was it? No, it was 14. 14 was very disappointing. And I think generally the last couple of batches haven't been as good as some of the ones that came out just a few years ago of the 10 cask strength. It's still a damn good bottle. You're never going to be disappointed, I think, with the 10 cask strength, unless you nerd out about them like I do. But they're still the best bang for your buck, but you're going to get something different with the lore. I mean, the lore really gives you, again, it's kind of a coming together of some unique styles of Laphroaig. And I think you're really going to have a good time like experiencing that one, because it gives you an insight into kind of like, if you ping Laphroaig for one thing, is that up until recently with the release of the 10 sherry cask, most of the Laphroaig you get is just not like, it's all kind of, other than the Carchus, it's like their core range stuff is all the same. okay, quarter cask, but the quarter cask versus bourbon cask, yeah, it's a little oakier, but you're not getting anything very, very different with that. And then you get the 10 cask strengths, which are all basically the same type of bottlings. The regular 10 is the same. The select is just a even younger version of basically the 10 without an age statement. Like, you're just getting a lot of bourbon cask Laphroaig. So at least with some of these, you'll get some sherry in them. And now that they have the sherry 10-year-old out, I think there's at least some more variety now in terms of what you can find from them. But I would say the lore better than the 10 sherry, better than the regular 10, probably better than anything that they put out in their core range, except maybe the 10 cask strength. Top Shelf Dustin says 18 more complex and nuanced, lore rich, deeper, and darker. Yeah, they're both 48% too, right? That's a good battle. I have a couple 18ers. I love the green tube. Mike says very much miss. In fact, not to gloat, but I think I have 2 or 3 of those still left. And I grabbed on secondary market a few years ago. Fantastic stuff. Probably, I actually like the 18 more than the 125 that I've had. I think the 10 cask strength is the only one, price considered, that I would have take over the 18. But like, I liked pretty much any of the 18s I've had, and the lore is not that far behind for me. Laura's Lucifer, haven't been able to get a 10 CS where I'm at. Oh, that's a bummer. Ethan says I might have to go snag one tomorrow. 10 CS is harder to find. You might have to swing over to you might have to swing over to Jersey for that. But dude, grab the lore. I'll be interested to hear what you think about it if you get it. It's a really good whiskey, man. So is this Elements, by the way. But I don't know if it's $160, $170 good. But this is really nice, man. It's a really, I'm encouraged by this. I don't know if you followed my channel for a while. I like to do reviews of the new 10 cask strengths when they come out. And I was starting to worry about Laphroaigs and kind of what they were putting out. Something really weird happened in 2022, I want to say. Usually they release a 10 cask strength batch once a year. They released 2 batches in 2022, the batch 13 and the batch 14. The batch 13, first of all, the batch 12 from 2021 was a pretty solid one, good one. The 13 was pretty decent too, but the 14 was like a total drop off. And my worry was that they were going to start putting out multiple batches of this every year and that the quality was going down. And then I didn't see one for like over a year. And then suddenly, late 2023, the 15 popped up around me. I got it. And it was a bit of a return to form, in my opinion. So I was happy about that. And then the 16, which came out this year, is kind of in that same place. I don't think that the 15, batch 16, batch 13 are on the level of like the batch 10 or the batch 12, or if you want to go back further, obviously the batch, I think 7 or the batch 3. But in terms of stuff that's still somewhat available, but it's still really good. And so I was really happy about that, because I really was getting a little worried. I was like, why are they putting out 2 of these in 1 year? Why did they do this? And they're kind of that batch 14 was just, when you compared it to others, it was a major drop off. Hughes in the house. What's up? I have 2 bottles of Laphroaig 10 sherry being delivered Saturday. Nice. Someone's going to have a good weekend. That's cool. Good to see you. Cube, Mr. White, Laphroaig sherry 10 sherry cask is a fave for him as well. Okay, great. We got some fans of the sherry cask. He has the green tube only. I did if folks really want to see, I did a green tube versus white tube 18 comparison video, I think. If you look in I do have a little playlist of Laphroaigs. If you go and look, if you're interested in hearing me nerd out about that, check it out. Top D says Mike and I did a versus on the 18 versus order, but we both expected the 18 to be an easy win, but side by side it wasn't that obvious. And and that is why comparing whiskeys is so damn fun, because you just don't know. If I would have been in the room with you, Dustin, I would have said the same thing. I'm like, this isn't going to be a contest, right? Did you do those blind, or did you know which ones they were, just out of curiosity? Hey, Jazz Hip Hop, what's up, man? Didn't like the 10 sherry, just came off a bit muted, he says. There we go. We got a lot of people jumped on that 10 sherry, which again makes sense to me because they really didn't have a consistent sherry influenced offering at Laphroaig for that you could find that was obvious. I mean, I thought it was really cool that they finally put that out. I liked it. I didn't love it. I actually found it to be a bit too sherried for my taste. I thought it was a little bit heavy-handed with it, but I didn't think it was bad by any stretch. And I do have a bottle of it, and probably one I'll keep around. It's just with the peated Laphroaigs, they're all peated. I thought the way that the sherry influence on the lore has just a bit more. Is it the lore? I think so. Has a bit more of a like subtlety to it that I kind of enjoyed. Really nice stuff. You can't blind the lore versus the 18. The lore is sherry. Oh well, you're right. But I mean, like if you did like a like black Glencairns or something where you couldn't see it is what I meant. So sorry, I didn't make that clear. You took okay. We'll have to check that out. Yeah, go check that out on their channel, guys, if you're interested. And then I mentioned I do have I think I have a white tube, green tube comparison video. So I should let folks know what's coming up. So I will have another peated whiskey show, which I think will be my next live, and we're going to be uncorking a whiskey that I have held off from buying for over or close to a year, mostly because I didn't want to pay the price and I wanted to resist, but I couldn't. And it is called the Ardbeg Harpy's Tale 13-year-old. It's part of their new anthology series. It is a 13-year-old Sauternes matured Ardbeg, bottled at 46%. Also, compared to in the same price range as this Elements, in that like 160 range, which or 170 even. I couldn't tell you how many times I had that whiskey and then put it back. I've finally given in, and so I'll share an uncorking video of that when I get it, and we can talk about whether or not this anthology series from Ardbeg is going to be worth exploring. I have to say the fact that it's I think it's the Sauternes that got me. I have no intention actually this year of buying the what is that? What is their new Facile release? Superstar, something like that. I don't know. It's some poor. I'm not going to get that one, but 13-year-old Sauternes Ardbeg is just too tempting, and the price is stupid. But I just had to do it, y'all. I had to do it. Come on, let's check it out. I'll do it so you don't have to. I'll be the guinea pig on this. Yeah. Cheers. Yeah, it's the Sauternes, man. You now know what they call people who buy non-core Ardbeg. Yeah. Well, it is true. The best Ardbeg you can spend your money on, really, bang for your buck, because outside of, I suppose it is their current is the Treban. The Treban is just freaking awesome. For the price, it's obviously Ardbeg prices, but that one's great. Oogie's great. Corey Vrecken's pretty great. 10 is great. Anno is whatever. Wee Beasties, whatever. But I haven't really had anything from them, I would say, of late, in the last couple of years, that has been a real wow whiskey. But that 13-year-old Sauternes, god damn it. Ardbeg marketing makes it hard. It gets hard to take seriously. Bottles are hit and miss. I know, man. I know. Not gonna lie, the new Ardbeg CR kind of has an interesting goes. Yeah, it's like all port, right? It's like full port or something like that. Ethan's a Corey fan. 19 is so good. Yeah. The 19 is fantastic. I have a batch for Trevan, and it's just stellar. Wee Beastie, yeah. I mean, the thing about the Wee Beastie that it for me was always like, I just felt like, why get that when I could get a 10 for like $5 more at the time? But I do think it's worth a revisit. In fact, I have some that I'll probably revisit it with, and it seems like it could be a good whiskey for like mixing or something like that. But totally solid. I don't know what the price difference between the 10 and the Wee Beastie is anymore. Well said, Ethan. Well said. I did love my 19 batch 1 and 3. Yeah, dude, the 19 is. See, that was another one of theirs where I was like, I can't pay $250 to $300 for a fucking 19-year-old whiskey. Like, this is absurd. Like, Ardbeg tax is so ridiculous. And then I think I found it in the batch 4 in the UK for like, and I was just in a mood similar to the mood I was in with the Harpy Tail 13 Sauternes, where I'm like, yes, no. And then finally I gave in and I was like, oh man, this is fantastic. So I'm jealous that you got to try the 1. 10 is like the same price. Yeah, the Ardbeg 10 is awesome. I think the price varies. It can be. I've never seen it like more than a $10 difference between the two. What? I'll give Ardbeg credit. I mean, when they put that Wee Beastie out, they didn't go the Laphroaig Select route. I mean, they put a 5-year age statement on it, like fuck you all. It's 5 years, and we'll say it. I give them respect for that. I think was it bottled at like 48 or something like that. I don't know. Wee is 45 and the 10 is 60. Oh, and really in Philly? The 19 303 retail in the US worth the UK price. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. My fave, aside from the 1974 Gordon and MacPhail, remains the 1975 single cask. Listen to this guy. Greg's whiskey guide over there in Paris is sitting on a treasure trove of old Ardbegs. I have the Almost There. Have you tried anyone? I think I have that. I have a decent amount of Ardbegs. On the shelf over here, we have the Galileo, the third Supernova, Ardbog, fermentation, Ardbeg, Kelpie CR, the Perpetuum CR, Trevan, Dark Cove, and the 21. I think I might have another funky old Ardbeg. Oh, that's it. Here's another. Oh, I should mention this. This is one that has you want to talk about a price fluctuation. This Ardbeg, the Ardbeg 8 for discussion, which is bottled at 58.8%. I have seen priced everywhere from like €60 to like €150. I do not understand the pricing of that whiskey at all, but it's good. That Ardbeg 8 is really solid. If you see that at a reasonable price, worth grabbing. I was actually quite surprised by that one. But the problem inevitably is that, can you find it for a good price? I see the 10 on sale enough where it can be less than the 5-year. Nice. Can never go wrong with Ardbeg 10. Agreed. Indeed, Eric. Respect to Ardbeg for slapping the 5 on it. Yeah, I'm a fan, man. I thought that was pretty cool of them. Laphroaig wouldn't have that courage. I mean, for all the crap Ardbeg gets, I'll be honest, their core juice, I mean, their style that is still really good. It's unfortunate that they, they're the guy who does basically their whiskey is the same dude that works at Glenmorangie, another distillery that I really like. And while I feel like a lot of their stuff has been quite gimmicky over the last 5 years, maybe even longer, I still think when you think about core ranges, consistent quality core range whiskeys from Isla, the big three at Ardbeg, I just feel like are hard to beat, man. I don't know. You might get a year or two where the batches aren't as great as the others, but Ugadal, Corey Vrecken, and 10 are never whiskeys that I would turn my nose up at ever. Like, I think they're all just absolute stunningly good. And those three alone, I think, are probably stronger than any core range. Just those three of their core range are the strongest of any core range whiskeys on Isla. Maybe we'll see more with the Port Charlotte stuff going forward. I did do a Port Charlotte 10, Ardbeg 10, Laphroaig 10 face-off video a while back. And that was fun. Check it out if you're interested. But yeah, I do like as much crap as they get, deservedly so. And I think people are sick and tired of buying underwhelming whiskey from them, particularly these annual releases of their Ardbeg Day bottlings, which the 46% version, not the CRs. The CRs are way overpriced, but now the CR means committee release, if you don't know. They do a committee release version, and then they do the limited version, which is the one that you can get in most stores. They're just overpriced, and they're not that high quality. The Ardbeg Black limited release was one of the most disappointing whiskeys I ever had from them, because I really liked the committee release. And then the limited had the shortest finish I think I'd ever had on an Ardbeg. And it doesn't seem like they've went in any other direction. I have the Heavy Vapors committee release, and the only reason I had it is because they had it sitting at this local store here and nobody bought it. And when I came in, the guy sold it to me for $80. So I said, sure. But like, that's it. I like a funny story. So the local Benny's, which is a big liquor store chain here in Chicago, they have had a full row of the Ardbeg limited release version of the Ardcore. It's on the end of the Scotch shelf. So like when you get in there, when you get in there, it's the first thing you see because it's on the top. I have never seen one of those taken off that shelf, and it's been there for over a year. I take a picture of it and send it to my buddy every time I go there. I'm like, they still haven't sold these. They're trying to sell them for $130 a piece. Like, which made me hopeful. Like, maybe people are getting onto the fact that like they're not going to buy this crap. In contrast, Laphroaig, for all of the issues that they have been really, I think, for the most part, doing a good job with their annual Festival releases with the Carchus line. Their Carchus line is really good. I mean, you might like some more than others, but is the only Carchus I think that I have had that I would say was like legit bad was the port and red wine one. That was just not my cup of tea. It was not their best quality. I can understand some people might like it, but I don't think it was their best release. But the last couple that they've done, I mean, you like it or you don't, but I wouldn't say that they've been low quality, right? The Ardbegs, they have been. That's just my 2 cents on it. He is a lot of Ardbeg indeed, says Greg's Whiskey Guide. Top D says locally, CR versus regular, the price gap isn't that big now. That's terrifying. Heavy Vapors, they legit told you they mess up. That's the same thing they did with the fermutation or whatever. Yeah. The price isn't bad. What's up, Squib? I will say Bizarrebecue was a good time. No interest in the rest of the special releases, though. So a buddy of mine grabbed that. And yeah, it seemed like one of those that was, it was actually pretty good. Like an enjoyable dram to have. But, you know, how long? I'm just curious if you enjoyed the whole bottle or if it took you a long time to finish it. I heard that it was kind of a fun one. No standard releases, says Jazz and Hip Hop. Oh, okay. He still has an old Ardbeg 23 and 22 Dusty. There's still, and I really want to break out the plastic. Dude. If the price is fair, I would probably grab those. I have a 21. But not the 22 or the 23, unfortunately. I wish I did. So yeah, I don't know. That's my 2 cents on it. I do think that Ardbeg seems to excel in their core range and that their special releases tend to be more misses than hits these days. Laphroaig, in contrast, it seems like their core range has been a little bit more hit and miss, and their special releases tend to be a little bit more consistent. And I think this Elements, despite the price, is quite good. I won't turn my nose up at any of the cartridge releases, sans the port and red wine cask. The warehouse one from last year was good. The one from this year is pretty good. The 2 years ago, the PX cast strength is awesome. Triple wood cast strength is really good. I mean, there's not really a bad one in the lot, other than, again, you know, I think the port and red wine cask could have been better. That's just me, though. I think the cartridge lines is a bottling I will buy every year with confidence.
Can't say that about Ardbeg. All right, y'all.
Yeah, so coming up ahead, we're going to have a... Oh, I should tell you guys about one other thing. And I want to do a... I'll probably do a comparison show with this. I got my hands on a Highland Park 18 Viking Pride. But there's something else. There's something about this that I wanted to mention to y'all, because I don't know if you've ever heard of this. So take a look at this bottle. It's full black. This is the Highland Park 18 Viking Pride Travel Edition. Okay. So as you might know, the regular Highland Park 18 Viking Pride comes in a clear bottle. This one comes in a black bottle. But there's another significant difference. That is, the Highland Park 18 that you buy at the store is 43%. The travel edition is 46%. So you have like a 3% difference in the ABV. I think I'm going to do a live comparison video of the two. But what a weird bottling. Hey, I didn't even know this existed until I stumbled across it. And I'm like, well, this makes no sense. So my assumption, of course, yeah, HP 18 and 46%. Travel retail. My assumption, of course, with travel retail is like you're probably more likely than not the quality is not going to be that great. But I'll tell you, I've had some of this. We'll leave it there. I've been enjoying it. How weird, though, right? Squib says, I vaguely remember G Whiskey mentioning that. Yeah, I like, what a strange dude, right? 18-year-old at 46, and it seems like the maturation is the same. I'm going to do a comparison of the two because I haven't had the Ardbeg 18 Viking Pride in a really long time. So it's hard for me to compare them in isolation, but I do like that one. I mean, it's fantastic in what it is. And the price was about the same. So I'll try and get my hands on an 18 Viking Pride. Shouldn't be that hard. And then we'll do a comparison video. And I think I might do that on the next live, but you can also expect, again, we're going to hopefully in the next maybe 3 weeks, if not maybe a little less. I'll see you all again on here to check out what I hope wasn't a bad investment. I'm sure it was. I hope it's not. The Ardbeg Anthology Harpy's Tale 13-year-old Sauternes. I mean, come on, Sauternes and Ardbeg, it can't be bad, right? Right? Well, we'll find out. Until then, I'm going to get ready to sign off. So just a last mention here. So we talked about two really nice Laphroaig's Elements 3.5, but I would say has upside for those who are Laphroaig heads. Probably should grab it. Incredible vintage bottle of the Signatory vintage 31-year-old Laphroaig 4.5 killer whiskey. that's a wrap for now, man. It's really great to reconnect and see some of y'all. Oh, let me grab this question quick. Depends what distillery. Yeah, it depends. Yeah, cheers to you too, James, man. Great to see you. I kind of think it will too, man. I'm right there with that. You're the way you're talking about it is exactly what I was thinking. I just, anyways, yeah. So again, cool to hang out, folks. I really appreciate seeing everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. Enjoy your drams. Stay safe. Be well. I'll probably have another review video coming up. I got a couple reviews in the pipeline, including Mortlock 20. What was the other one? I think there's a compass box in the mix. There's a bunch of stuff coming. So if you haven't subbed and enjoyed the show today, smash that sub button. I'd appreciate it. Also, Greg's Whiskey Guide, Top Shelf Whiskey, Dram Dude on Instagram are some of the folks who joined us today who also have really good content. Support your local whiskey nerds. We appreciate you just as much as you may appreciate us. So until then, Sláinte y'all. Take care. Stay safe. Be well.